I've been a dumb artist before, just signing shit, just getting, because they get you with the money. You gotta think, you 20 years old, these folks like, look, you got a hot song, let me give you $2 million. But then I'ma own you.
He signed deals without reading. He trusted the wrong people. And by the time he realized what happened, he was already trapped. This is the story of Offset, Wack100, and millions of dollars that somebody ain't telling the truth about. Let's break down what really happened. Bad deals, broken trust, and the industry's dirty game. Now look, before we even get into the Wack100 and Offset situation, we gotta understand something absolutely crucial about this rap game that a lot of people don't fully comprehend. The business side of this industry is cold. And I mean ice cold. Fam, ain't nobody know that better than Offset himself. A man who has been through the trenches of the music business and came out the other side with wisdom that only experience can provide. See, a lot of y'all sitting at home might think these rappers just out here getting rich, living lavish, popping bottles, and buying foreign whips left and right. But the reality of the situation is completely different from what you see on Instagram. These labels and managers be running game on artists every single day, taking advantage of their youth, their hunger, and their dreams of making it big. When you're young and hungry, desperate to make it out your circumstances, you'll sign damn near anything they put in front of you. And when Offset sat down on Club Shay Shay, he kept it all the way real about how young artists get caught up in situations that haunt them for years.
See, because at first, when I first came in the game, well, you got 2 million for me? Man, run it. Publisher, you got 5 million? Run it. Not really reading the terms, not really understanding, and then your lawyer ain't gonna tell you, your lawyer gonna tell you what you gotta do, but I feel like if you build with your lawyer, like I talk to my lawyer day to day, when I'm asking questions, and he know like, I'm gonna ask this question, and I need you to break it down into a way that I can understand, so I understand what I'm signing up to, because I've been a dumb artist before, just signing shit, just getting, because they get you with the money. You gotta think, you 20 years old, these folks like, look, you got a hot song, let me give you $2 million. But then I'ma own you.
Now, this is the game right here, and I need everybody watching to really understand what Offset is breaking down because it applies to the entire conversation we're about to have. Offset is essentially exposing exactly how the industry works. And this is directly connected to why people immediately assumed he would have smoked with Wack100 when this story first started circulating. Because Wack has been accused of running the exact same type of plays on his artists, using the same playbook that these major labels been using for decades.
Then I'ma own you, and then you got 5 albums, but then soon the album come out, because most people don't know, when your album come out, you at an artist level like me, man, your first month, they done made 2-3 million. Wow. But it ain't your cut, it ain't your money, and it's not counting to your recoupment, but on the what they own, that done recoup the 2-3 million, and they still got you in $3 million debt, and quarterly counting it down.
Y'all hear that? Let me make sure everybody caught what Offset just said because this is crucial to understanding the whole finessing conversation. The album drops, the label makes $2-3 million off your music. And even after they make back what they gave you, you're still counting down debt because of all the expenses they charging to your account. That's the finesse. That's the game these industry folks been playing on artists forever from the Matone days all the way to today. Now, this entire context brings us directly to Wack100 and why people would immediately believe a story about him finessing an artist. See, Wack has been in the music industry for decades at this point, managing high-profile artists like The Game, Blueface, and being heavily connected to West Coast politics and street organizations. The man knows everybody, and everybody knows him. But his reputation when it comes to artist contracts and business dealings, man, that's been under heavy scrutiny for years now, and it keeps coming up every time his name is mentioned. According to DJ academics and multiple industry sources who have spoken on the matter, Wack allegedly signed Blueface to a deal structure that takes a whopping 70% of his total earnings. How is that even possible, you might ask? Well, it's because Wack positioned himself as both the label and the manager simultaneously. As the label, he takes 50% of everything Blueface makes. As the manager, he's taking another 20% on top of that already massive cut. That's what academics call double dipping. A clear and obvious conflict of interest where there's literally nobody in the room looking out for the artist's best interests when the same person is supposed to be negotiating deals for you and profiting from the deals at the same time. Who's really protecting the artist? The answer is nobody. But here's where the actual tension between Offset and Wack100 comes into play. And I promise you, it ain't got nothing to do with no business deal gone wrong or contract disputes. This beef is way more personal than that. And it involves the people closest to both of them. See, Wack100 has a relationship with Cardi B that actually predates her, even knowing who Offset was. They go back years, and Wack has always shown love and respect to Cardi. So when Offset and Cardi started having their very public issues that played out across social media and entertainment news, Wack found himself caught up directly in the middle of their drama, whether he wanted to be or not.
Well, you threatened to expose some information about Offset involving some of the drama with Cardi B.
Who?
You.
Oh, I kept the exposure from happening. You know, I got phone calls from people outside of Offset.
So, check this out. Wack is admitting right there on camera that he had information in his possession that could have seriously damaged Offset's reputation and public image, but he made the conscious choice to keep it contained and not let it get out. Why would he do that? Because of his long-standing respect for Cardi B and their relationship that goes back years. But before he decided to hold back that information, Wack had actually put Offset on blast publicly in a major way. He posted directly on his Instagram story saying, "Little weird ass Noah, I told you keep me out your emotional shit." Now, here's where the whole situation gets absolutely wild and complicated beyond what most people understood at the time. Blueface, who is Wack's own artist that he manages, had put out some very damaging information about Offset, allegedly hooking up with Christian Rock while he was still married to Cardi B. This was explosive because of everything going on between Blueface and Christian at the time. And Offset was heated about this, immediately calling Wack, trying to get him to control his artist and stop the bleeding before more information got out there.
He's blaming me for what Blueface is doing. I didn't agree with Blueface for what he did.
What did Blueface do?
Well, he posted, I don't know if it was text messages, pictures, I don't know what it was, right? Of Offset and Rock, Rashawn, around, right? I wake up to it. I guess it's on Twitter somewhere. I don't be on Twitter, I don't know. My phone's going crazy, right? It's Offset. He's telling me, only thing I'm hearing is Blueface. I call Blueface, hey man, what the f is going on?
So, Offset was operating under the assumption that Wack was behind the exposure, that he had given Blueface the green light to put his business out there. But Wack maintains to this day that he didn't know absolutely nothing about it until it had already happened and was spreading across the internet. Blueface was moving on his own time, making his own decisions without consulting his manager first. Here's the thing, though. Wack was ready and willing to step back completely and let Blueface go all the way with exposing every piece of information he had about Offset. Wack was fed up with being blamed and accused for something he claims he didn't orchestrate or have any knowledge of beforehand, but then he got a phone call that changed everything and made him reconsider his position. Cardi B personally called Wack and basically communicated, "Look, we already separated at this point. This really ain't my business no more, and I don't want to be dragged into it." But she asked him respectfully to contain the situation and not let it escalate further. And Wack obliged out of respect for their friendship. So the Cardi Offset Wack drama, it ultimately got squashed and de-escalated because of Cardi herself stepping in and asking for peace. But that ain't even the main story that got everybody talking. Let's get into what really had the streets buzzing for years. The infamous dice game incident that allegedly started a whole war. Alright, now we getting to the absolute meat of this whole situation. The story that's been told, retold, disputed, confirmed, denied, and debated across every single hip-hop platform, podcast, and social media site for years now. The dice game that started it all. We talking about the infamous dice game between Offset and 42 Dugg that went down at QC Studios back in 2019. Wack100 was there that night. He's been the primary narrator of this story, the main one telling it across multiple interviews and podcast appearances. And according to his detailed account, this is exactly how everything went down that fateful evening.
What is going on with 42 Dugg and you? He clapped back. You said Offset ran his pockets in the studio.
That's not what I said.
What'd you say?
I said, you tried to leave the dice game. Offset wasn't going for it. He went outside He was walking away.
See Wack's clarifying something very important right there. He never actually said Offset straight up robbed Doug and took his money. That's not the story he's been telling. He said Offset tried to check him for leaving the dice game prematurely when it was Offset's turn to roll the dice, and he was on a hot streak.
So a tap in pockets is like, I'm gonna rob you, but it's like metaphorically, I'm like figuring out if you have anything to steal.
42 Doug had a bunch of money in both his pockets. You know, he got skinny jeans on, so both down his pockets. Offset didn't take too kind to him walking away from the dice game when it was Offset dice. He was in him 20,000.
So you can't just walk away from the dice game? No. That's a violation?
Let me break down exactly what Wack says happened that night in full detail, so everybody understands the sequence of events. This was 2019, specifically the last day of the Lillaby tour that was running through Atlanta. Wack had brought Blueface out there specifically to record a song with Offset. That was the whole purpose of them being at the studio that night. He called Pierre P to open up QC Studios so they could get the session in. Now, for those who don't know dice game etiquette, that's a major violation in the streets. When somebody is on a hot streak with the dice when they're hitting their numbers and building momentum, you can't just grab your money off the floor and dip out. That's considered disrespect to the shooter and the whole game. You stay and let them finish their roll. Now, here's where things escalated and got physical according to Wack's account.
Now, QC Studios, that gate don't open on motion. You gotta open from inside the building. Offset jumps up and trails behind him. I come behind him. I got a few of the schoolyards with me because we on tour. Offset walks right up and Doug's walking away from him, grabs his left pocket. His money bulging out of it. He didn't take the money out of his pocket, right? I don't know if he was attempting to take it or he was just trying to turn him around or what it was. Nevertheless, Doug ends up turning around. When he turned around, Offset fired.
In the face.
Right in the face.
So, according to Wack's detailed account, Offset followed Doug outside, grabbed at his pocket where the money was visibly bulging through his skinny jeans. Doug turned around to see what was happening, and Offset punched him dead in his face. Clean shot. Then, Wack says he started counting to see if there would be any reaction. 1042 Doug didn't react at all. No swing back, no retaliation, nothing. Now, here's the part that really shook everybody and changed the whole narrative of this story. When 42 Doug went on Instagram Live calling Wack a liar and denying everything happened the way Wack described, Wack did something unexpected. He pulled up the DMs, direct messages from Offset himself.
So Offset says, nah, Unc is right. I gotta respect what he's saying. They go back in the building. I tell him, open the motherfucking, that's from Offset. See the date. Scroll down.
Wednesday.
That's Doug doing his rant. What the fuck did Offset say to me?
Why this N-word lying? Oh.
See, one thing about Wack, I got the content. I recited everything that happened, right?
Offset confirmed Wack's version of events through those DMs. When Doug went on his rant saying it didn't happen, Offset messaged Wack asking why this a line, meaning Offset was essentially backing up and co-signing everything Wack had been saying about that night, directly contradicting what 42 Doug was claiming publicly.
Listen, I can show you just prior to that Offset cussing me out.
For what?
Because of the Blueface shit. Cussing me the fuck out, going crazy on me.
But no love lost, because when the Doug thing came up, he was...
No, but it's gonna lead to this. What does he say? You my what?
You my uncle. These texts is crazy.
But 42 Doug absolutely wasn't having any of this narrative being pushed about him. He went on Instagram Live and told a completely different version of what happened that night, putting his entire reputation and his mother's life on the line.
And I was by myself with $100,000. They tried me, bro. Right or wrong, they tried me. They surrounded me, told me, I ain't giving a rich nigga shit. And my mama can die right now.
Where me and you and Squeeze catch niggas at, dog?
Got it. My mama could die if I'm lying, bro. I didn't get them niggas a dime, bro. And I was by myself, Gotti. Who you know doing that? Who you know leaving somewhere with 100,000 surrounded by 12 niggas poles and leave out that bitch with all his money, all his jewelry?
42. Doug put it on his mama. That's as serious as it gets in the streets. You don't invoke your mother's life unless you're telling the absolute truth. He says emphatically that he didn't give up a single dime to anybody. He walked out of that situation with all his money intact and all his jewelry still on his person. That's an incredibly bold statement to make on camera for the whole world to see. But then Doug went even further than just denying the robbery. He started alluding to some serious retaliation that allegedly happened after that night. That's a significant statement coming from academics who has known and worked with Wack for years. Even he's saying he can't fully verify everything Wack claims anymore. Now, a lot of people in the culture tried to connect all of this drama together. The business issues, the street politics, the relationship problems, everything to explain why Migos ultimately split up as a group. People were creating conspiracy theories left and right, but Offset himself sat down and set the record completely straight on what actually caused the breakup. The aftermath, Migos split, and Offset speaks his truth. When Keke Palmer asked him directly about the Migos disbanding in 2023, he kept it all the way real and honest.
Migos disbanded in 2023. When did it really start to fall apart?
It wasn't
Obviously
really,
before then.
I think things on the business side wasn't turning to my favor. I wanted, you know, I got kids. You know what I mean? I got kids, a family. And I'm just getting older and more smart, paying more attention to my money, my finances, and felt like I wanted a bigger piece.
Sure.
Not from them, but from the business.
Yeah.
It wasn't about Quo wanting to be the star. It wasn't about no female drama like people tried to fabricate with a whole SETI situation. It was about business, plain and simple. Offset wanted a bigger piece of what they as a group were generating together. And the business structure they were operating under wasn't allowing for that growth. He had a family to feed, and he needed to see more money coming his way.
Was there truth to you and Sweetie?
No, man. It was a rumor, man. And I feel like it was something deeper than that for the split of me and bro. It was something deeper than that. You know what I mean? It was something deeper than that.
On the Breakfast Club morning show, they broke down Offset's interview in detail and discussed how he addressed all these lingering rumors that had been floating around for years.
So Sweetie is not the reason that Offset and Quavo are no longer friends, nor is she the reason that Cardi B and Offset divorced. Offset sat down with Keke Palmer on This Is Keke Palmer and talked about that rumor that has been circulating. Let's take a listen.
It was something deeper than that for the split of me and bro. I don't really want to touch on, but it's something deeper than that. I think that was just like that was a thing that was a buzz that I heard.
Offset even went as far as to suggest that business people were actively plotting against the group, trying to create artificial division between family members so they could maintain control.
I think people was trying to tear my situation down in that situation. And
You think there were business people that were plotting on you both?
for sure.
Yeah, and they were creating you guys, stopping you guys from being strong so that y'all couldn't go together against that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would be seeing headlines we men, so we don't play those games. We don't even know how to do that.
This ties directly back to what we discussed at the beginning of this video. The industry is designed to keep artists divided and weak so they can't collectively fight against unfair deals and exploitation. Offset recognized that pattern playing out in his own career and family. One of the most emotionally heavy and vulnerable moments from any of Offset's recent interviews was when he opened up about Takeoff's tragic passing. This man has been carrying guilt inside him that he had never spoken about publicly until this conversation with Keke Palmer.
When people like that pass away, especially so suddenly, it had to make you think, what did you think? You know what I'm saying?
To be honest with you, I never really said this. Like, I felt like I had that, some responsibility was on me, because what if I didn't go solo? What if I just thugged it out with the business not being right? You know what I mean? Maybe we wouldn't even been right there or in that place, because I just know how we move when I'm around a little bit.
Man, that's heavy. Let that sink in for a moment. Offset is essentially saying he feels like if he hadn't made the decision to pursue his solo career, if he had just stayed and dealt with the business issues within the group, maybe Takeoff wouldn't have been in that specific situation where he lost his life. He knows how the group moved when they were all together. He was the one who would read the room and say, "We need to get up out of here," when things fell off, and he wasn't there that night to do that. And on top of that internal guilt he was already carrying, he had to deal with people on the internet speculating and saying that he and Takeoff weren't even on good terms before he died. People who didn't know anything about their actual relationship were creating narratives that made an already painful situation even worse. So, now that we've gone through absolutely everything, the industry finessing that Offset himself experienced, the Cardi B and Blueface drama that created tension with Wack, the infamous Dice game story, the Migos split, and Offset speaking his truth on all of it. Let's bring this entire story together and address the original question. And when it came to the Dice game story, Wack showed Offset's actual DMs confirming his version of events against what 42 Doug was claiming. Offset wasn't beefing with Wack over that story. He was actually co-signing what Wack was saying about what happened with Doug that night. Before we wrap this up, I want to leave y'all with something powerful that Offset said about hip-hop and his place in it. Despite all the drama, all the business issues, all the personal struggles, this man still believes in the culture and his role within it.
So you don't believe hip-hop is declining?
I don't believe so. Not while I'm in it. What the hell I look like saying it's declining right now? I'm in it. No sir. And it's way more rich black folks off of hip hop
that made it
ever.
Right.
It ain't never been no execs in the buildings like it is now. It's black execs in the buildings, like in the label buildings, making decisions more than it's ever been. And we still run the culture.
That's the mentality of somebody who's been through the fire and come out the other side still standing. Offset is still in this game, still making moves, still learning from every single mistake he's made both in business and in his personal life. And at the end of the day, that growth and resilience is what it's really all about. So that's the complete breakdown, y'all. We went through Offset's own words on predatory record deals, Wack100's detailed Dice game story, 42 Doug's passionate response denying everything, the Cardi B drama that created real tension, the truth about the Migos split, and everything in between. Drop a comment below letting me know, who do you believe in this situation, Wack or Doug? And do you think the industry is still finessing artists the same way Offset described experiencing early in his career? Make sure to smash that like button if you made it this far. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into hip-hop drama and industry politics. Until next time, stay locked in and stay informed.